Welcome to Coleman Report Live. I'm Bob Coleman. We're talking Main Street and the small business lenders who help it grow. Katie, good to see you. Bill, our special guest. Bill, known Bill for a while. He's a former Wisconsinite. I believe you were in the state legislature there. He's been associated with the National Rural Lenders Association for a number of years. Passion, financing, getting capital to rural America. Right, Bill?
Yes, sir.
Let's go through a couple of poll questions, and then I want to pick your brain. I want to know what's going on in rural America and overall what's going on in Washington. Number one, this came up yesterday. What percentage of your PPP loans are being declined? Bill, I don't know if you follow this, but the second draw.
Oh, no, I know all about it. I know all about it.
I'm sorry, cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I understand it.
Yeah. Not bad. Katie, I think we were close to 20%.
Yeah, it looks like we've gotten a drop since the last time we asked this question. Before, we had a lot more in that 20% category. So that's at least good. It sounds like maybe more of them are being, I don't know, hopefully just moved into that research category, and then they can get that handled, and instead of them being flat out declined.
And the 40% number is problematic. If you're in that 40% level, I think sit down and reevaluate what you're doing. Number two, what percentage of your PPP loans are receiving hold codes? What do you think, Katie? 20%? That about right? Actually, so
yeah, that sounds about accurate. I think overall the SBA said it was actually a smaller amount, but from what we've been hearing, a lot of lenders are having problems with these hold codes. So maybe it's just our audience as well, but it sounds like that's still a continuous problem, and a lot of people still haven't been able to clear all those. So that's kind of unfortunate. Luckily that 10%, we're moving more into that 10% and opposed to, the higher numbers though.
We're solving. Finally, it's near and dear to Bill's heart. Did you approve a USDA loan last year? Well, we got 20%, Bill. So, Bill, so tell me about what's going on. Give me a USDA 101. Obviously, 70% of the people don't use the program, and why should we as lenders embrace this program, Bill?
Well, the B&I program in the USDA is actually under the CARES Act for the first time allowed producers to participate. So an individual farmer can actually now, under the CARES Act, get a loan. There was $1 billion set aside. 90% of that has been spoken for. And then there's another $1 billion of loan authority that is available for the rest of fiscal year 21. In the first quarter of the fiscal year, they received $500 million worth of applications. So what we're doing right now is trying to persuade Congress to increase in the new CARES Act that is going to, the new COVID-19 Act that's going to go through, to increase the amount of loan authority. And as my mentor, Mr. Thomas, likes to say, it's better to lend than spend. And so for every dollar of budget authority, you will get $100 of loan authority. So we're asking in the reconciliation process for $10 million to be set aside to increase the business and industry loan program, another $1 billion, and to allow producers, which is true in the CARES Act from earlier, from last year, to be able to participate. And I just looked at coincidentally, the results from Wisconsin, and almost all the CARES Act activity were from producers.
And when you say producers, give us a type of lending lenders could do when you're talking with the producer, i.e. a farmer.
Well, they can, as long as there's collateral there, they can, in effect, make a long-term loan at a very low percentage rate and get it guaranteed by up to 80% by the federal government.
What are the fees in this program, Bill?
The fees are 3%.
Okay, so those are still being charged to the borrower?
Well, yes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Okay. So it's interesting, Congress, so they were talking about that was the first Congress ever that didn't have a farmer. Do we have any farmers in this Congress?
I don't know if we have any, it's interesting to say, I'm not sure if we don't have any farmers. We have some people that are very, very attuned to rural land.
Yeah.
So there are people from Nebraska, people from Iowa, people from Minnesota, people from Wisconsin that really, and that care deeply about this. And they all get on the Ag Committee. And in the process that they're using with reconciliation, it's the Agriculture Committee that makes the recommendation. So the Agriculture Committees have an additional $16 billion of spending that they can recommend back to the Budget Committee for this fiscal year. And what we're hoping is out of that 16 billion, just 10 billion will be set aside to free up $1 billion worth of lending.
What is the attitude toward Congress, toward USDA, toward these type of programs? SBA tends to be very bipartisan. I know so that's good. But how do the urban Congress members look at this, and do they have a sense of, we need to get capital to rural America, Bill?
Right. Well, so in the same way that the SBA is bipartisan, the Ag committees are bipartisan. So, and those committees attract people that represent rural districts. So amongst the Democrats that are on the Ag Committee or on the Agricultural Appropriations Subcommittee, they are much more likely to represent rural areas and care about these programs. And you're absolutely right. There's a lack of capital in rural America. And one of the things the Biden administration has said is they want to help rural America. Well, one way they could do it, and one way your viewers could do it, would be to tell Congress that they ought to increase the loan authority for the business and industry program.
Let's talk about that. What specifically can my audience do on this? And for that,
email their congressman or senator saying that the reconciliation bill should include an increase in budget authority for the rural business and industry program.
Good.
And literally an email on a program that they don't hear very much about will make a big difference. And needless to say, from a lobbying point of view, we're talking to the committee staff. For example, I talked to somebody from South Dakota this morning, and the young gentleman that is the aide, I told him, oh, by the way, so-and-so got one of these loans. And he said, oh, I've been to that farm. So that connection between a constituent and the lawmaker makes a big difference. When the aide hears that somebody that my boss knows, that I've met and likes, got a $3.1 million loan in this case, that makes a big difference. So I think I've got a supporter on my hands now.
Tell us about the National Rural Roundtable. I try to do that back to back. Obviously, it was canceled last year.
What? I'm sorry, I missed.
What is the group? I'm sorry. Tell me about the National Lenders Roundtable. Who's the group, and how can people become involved with that?
So it's a group of stakeholders, principally lenders in the space, and they can, with our president, who is Jordan Blanchard at Live Oak.
Yeah, we had him on a couple.
And Live Oak is consistently the largest lender in this space, and Jordan runs that program for the Live Oak Bank.
How much money do you think? First of all, as you said, it's not for spending. How much more loan authority would you like FDA to receive in the B&I space?
The USDA thinks the demand during this fiscal year will be about $2 billion. So we need another $1 billion of loan authority, which I say, as I indicated, only involves $10 million of budget authority. Every time you spend $1 of taxpayers' money, you get $100 worth of lending, which is not a bad deal. Better to lend than spend.
Absolutely. What other unique characteristics CARES Act were, this says here, we did have payment relief. What else did we have?
There wasn't payment relief in the rural lending programs. So
Okay.
all the SBA borrowers got 6 months of principal and interest paid by Uncle Sam. What borrowers in the rural areas got was 6 months of deferment. So at the end of the day, their principal was the same and their interest was higher. So it wasn't much of a deal. And we've talked to many people about that as something we'd like to see changed.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, very good. And very quickly, tell us, I want to get involved, what's going on with, what do they call it, the new processing lines, and I'm a lender, I want to get involved. Do I start at the state level? Can I go to Washington? Give you what do I do, Bill?
Well, the best thing to do is, in terms of being part of the program itself or just advocating for the program?
Both. I'm a lender, and I want to lend to rural America. What do I do?
Well, if I were a lender that wanted to lend to rural America, I'd get in touch with Thomas Kimsey at Thomas USAF, and they would be able to help you. And if I were a lender that wanted to advocate, I would look up, probably already know who my congressman is, and I'd also tell my trade association, which is presumably the independent community bankers, that this is an important issue to me.
Give me a lobbying 101. We talk about that, but what is the strong motivation? I mean, this is really work. We send a blind email to staff, Bill. Does that really work, or is it just going to the file?
I think the best way, the most effective lobbyist or effective constituent is someone that helped the member of Congress run for Congress the first time they were running. So it's important to be politically active. When I ran for the legislature, I can still name the 30 people that really helped me from the neighborhood. And so as a result, that's the most effective. However, writing, attending a community event, better yet, attending a fundraising event are all very, very helpful.
Yeah, no, but it's very strongly encourage you to be active in this area.
In your community.
Bill, yeah. I appreciate you coming on. Anything else you want to add to your presentation?
No, sir.
I appreciate you very much coming on. DC, what's going on? First of all,
I didn't hear what you said. I'm a little, you're not coming through exactly.
I know we're having issues with the gremlins. How much snow's on the ground in DC? Are you open?
It's virtually all gone already.
Nice.
And it's interesting. Now I'm finding more aides back in their offices on Capitol Hill working. I've seen a couple young men in ties today, which I haven't seen for a long time.
How difficult is it to get on the Hill these days?
I can't answer that question because I haven't done it for a long time. I've been on a lot of Zoom calls.
A member has to.
Yeah.
Very good.
You can have a meeting on the Hill, but they have to clear you through the member's office. In the old days, you could just kind of wander around.
Yeah.
And those days are gone.
Yeah, that's too bad. All right, Bill, thank you very much. Let's have you talk more about what's on USDA. We're really supportive of the program. Well, thank you very much.
Happy to do it anytime. Thank you for the opportunity.
Bill, you're always a friend. What do we got here? Interesting report from NFIB. What's the state of small business and how they're looking at life?
Yeah, so this is actually not just NFIB. This is a bunch of things all together, put together by Velazquez and presented yesterday during the House Committee hearing on the state of small business. And a little history about that hearing. The hearing is typically held right after you start new Congress to get them up to date on everything that's going on. So Velazquez went over some of the stats from the previous year and trying to motivate people to get involved and to try to push more policies that would help small businesses. So she went through things like the Federal Reserve's recent report that shows that the number of active business owners fell 22% from February to April 2020. She also talked about how COVID has caused a 41% decline in Black-owned businesses and a 32% decline in Latino-owned businesses. And also that NFIB optimism index has declined 5.5 points in December, which is one of the lowest the group has ever really seen. So she talked about a lot of those numbers and really was just pushing the committee to continue to reflect on those issues and as they move forward and as they create policies for the coming year.
Well, I sincerely hope that we're at the bottom and off and we're now on an upwards. I know there's we're talking about stimulus in Congress and that relates to Main Street. We don't quite know, but I think what Bill said makes a lot of sense. Is this message out? I mean, there's a lot of firms that are still hurting. There are a couple of questions that came in. Generous debt relief and payments for SDA loans. I can't answer that. And Bill, another thing, he's advocating that you contact your Congress member. Why did we defer SBA rural America and all the rural America has? And then Corey wants to know how much money is left in the USDA CARES Act program. And that's about $500 million is loan authority, and they're trying to obviously to get that bumped up. I'm a little bit more optimistic about that than I am about some of these debt reliefs. This is such a program to put it in context. They usually less than $1 a year. This year they're up to $2. It's such a small program, but it impacts rural America so strongly. It's a program. Let's go to the questions real quick. Valerie wants to know, for business that wasn't operating in January 2020 and their quarter was the lowest, do they qualify for a PPP loan? I'd have to know when they opened. Probably the answer, the question is right off the top of my head, probably not, because you can't take a startup and do, I think that's an eligibility issue. Eric, can you distinguish between the holds and the not approved status at SBA? Katie?
Yeah, so he's asking whether these the holds have to do with forgiveness, and the not approved. Well, not approved just simply means they're not approved. That probably means there was a problem. A hold is not necessarily to do with forgiveness. It could be something else. Typically, a hold's going to be put in place if your first draw loan had some kind of eligibility issue or the system thinks there's an eligibility issue. As we've seen, a lot of these, there really wasn't one and the system's just flagging it for some reason. And obviously, you're going to upload the proper documents to fix that. It will affect forgiveness in that if you have a hold, it will slow down the process. It also affects your second draw because they will not give you a loan number for your second draw if you have a hold.
Finally, John wants to know, can we get first round increase if we've received the second round of a PPP loan?
No, you can't.
Okay. We are frantically discussing among us over here at Coleman. I mean, we're just getting a ton of questions, and we're gonna come up with a solution to answer those. And we have questions from today we have to hold over as well. So we'll figure that out. We have a couple webinars next week that I think this is for your customers, and we'd love to do that. And Lance is going to do unresolved borrower hold codes on February 11th. Kate, have a nice weekend. Thank you very much for joining us. And thank you for joining us for Coleman Report Live and for supporting America's Main Street, one entrepreneur at a time.
Have a great day.